How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Okay. Not feeling super great, but that's okay.
What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. I just feel sick.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Oh well. Do you have a good day?
Yeah, yeah. I ran a lot of errands, did some work on an animation thing, and made karage.
Nice. You got a lot done today.
Something like
And
that.
what is the? I'm not gonna try and pronounce it. The thing that you made, the last.
Karage,
Yeah.
fried chicken, Japanese fried chicken.
Oh, okay. Neat. Do you use like panko crumbs for that or what?
It's chicken thigh, and then typically you'd want to do it like typically you wouldn't use panko, but uh, I'm not going to go to the trouble of like trying to make it come out perfectly with just potato starch and prayers. So I went the full mile on it. Panko, seasoned flour, and egg wash.
Nice. Well, that sounds delicious. What did you
It
make
was.
for like the side or whatever? Or did you not have
Um,
sides?
I had um kind of made like some like crisped rice cakes
Mm.
and had some kimchi with it.
Oh, that sounds nice. I don't think I've had kimchi before.
Pickled cabbage,
Yeah.
Korean pickled cabbage.
Oh, I've been offered it before. I just was too scared to try it at the time.
You should try it. It's
Yeah.
very so. I will say that like you get there's a variation in it. So like don't just like try it once and be like I know I fucking hate kimchi. But
Oh,
like
okay.
try like try it different places. Different people make it differently. Like sometimes it has more salt, some people make it a little sweeter. But it's pickles. Like at the end of the day, it's spicy pickled cabbage and onion and various other things. Has good like fermenty flavors and salty flavors and spicy flavors and yeah.
Nice.
Very good if you're making something to go with alcohol.
Well, I am drinking alcohol right now.
What you drinking?
Just Copper Moon red wine. Nothing
Okay.
special. It's like the
I
go-to.
I'm having a red wine as well. So
Oh, nice. Wine buddies.
I am also having red wine.
Yay!
inconspicuously also karage and also kimchi and also rice cakes.
Yes, all of those things.
Yeah, completely
Oh,
I
coincidental.
that's
wasn't sure
good.
if you wanted them to know.
No? Hmm? I don't care.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, he said about how he'd made that for dinner, and I was saying it sounds really good.
Oh no. A tiny bug fell into my wine cup
Uh
and I
oh.
scooped him out, and he is now just like wandering in circles.
Oh no, you made him drunk.
He is incredibly drunk.
Very dead. He is having the time of his life right before it all ends.
I mean, swimming in some wine is probably not a bad way to go.
It's how I want to go.
True, true. Could you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
You have like a slight echo, but that's pretty normal for the room you stream in.
Yeah, I really fucking hate that echo, and I've been turning my mic volume like further and further down, and it's not helping.
Turning your mic volume down isn't going to get rid of the echo. The problem with the echo is if the like I noticed it from when you were streaming. You have a lot of empty space around you.
Yeah.
Um, putting things on your walls can help.
Yeah, I know. I need to just take the time to do that probably this weekend, like hang up blankets or something.
Blankets are good. Or just like put more stuff in the room, just to like to sync the sound.
Something like a folding screen help.
Yeah, it can.
Like to sort of bounce it back from
Yeah,
behind you.
it helps to just like have something that will like eat the noise with a lot of surface area. So a folding screen has a lot of surface area to play with. That's why if you look for like sound dampening foam, it's always like little conical shapes pointing out, because that's a lot of extra surface area for it to just like catch the sound,
Right.
and it deadens echoes.
That's gonna be my weekend project.
If nothing else, you can always get like some like chunkier cardboard and just like make a like folding screen kind of dealio.
That's a good idea. It might not look very good, but
Oh, it doesn't have to be pretty. Like you can always like throw a blanket over that as well.
these are all good ideas, and I appreciate it because I'm gonna go looking for supplies on the weekend.
Yeah. Let me know if like you need help like figuring out what the hell you're looking for, and I'm always happy to help solve things.
Thanks.
Hey y'all, sorry about that.
Hi.
All good.
How are we doing?
Pretty well. How are you?
Not too shabby.
Good. And as you saw, Count Drinkula won't be here, but I'm going to be taking over Resi for the night, and I am logged into her D&D Beyond account, so
Perfect.
we can keep track
Yeah.
of everything.
The best part about D&D Beyond is that like once you have it installed and everything, like with the Roll20 and the Beyond 20, it's so simple just to take over someone's character and just do all the stuff for them. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm still not hooked into Roll20 on mine because I've been having problems with Chrome, but
Oh, gotcha.
You can run it through
otherwise I'm there.
Firefox. I sent you
I
the
can- you
Firefox
can-
extension.
Yeah, there's no extension for it with
Yes, there
Firefox.
is. I'm using it.
There is?
Yes, I linked it to you last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. This changes everything. Let me get that set up real quick.
Yeah, it doesn't do Internet Explorer or Edge or whatever the Microsoft one is, but it does do Firefox.
To be fair, neither does anyone else.
Yeah.
It's a real problem that Microsoft is having right now.
Okay, let's just see.
So, I just got done running a game for a group of kiddos because I've got games upon games, as you know.
7 a week, I've heard.
I'm up to 8, but
Why do you do this to yourself?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm a glutton for pain, I think. But anyway, so this group of kids, one of them is like, "Hey, can I have this like super duper massive artifact level thing?" And I basically said no, and he's kind of like, "Oh, well, what about this and that?" And I'm like, "You know what? This is the kind of thing that like there's one of ever, and it was created the loom of magic itself, and they only happen like every 100,000 years. But if you really want it, one exists, and it's like way to the north in the frozen tundras, and you can go and get it there. And it's like if he wants to do an entire campaign just based on that, then more power to him. But that's the only way I'm letting him have it."
I feel like with a lot of like little kid games, you kind of have to like you end up just kind of having to like let them have like you're running an epic level campaign. Like,
Yeah, that's what they want. They want to like
like you kind of just have to like grit your teeth, bear it, and like okay, we're doing this at level 15. We're going on the big adventure.
Yeah, they want to kill gods and kickbox the sun.
So do I, like IRL. But,
But yes,
I'm on a unrelated note. I think I might end up having to help your girlfriend resolve her dead PS2.
oh, is that what's happening now? I saw like a bunch of notifications pop up with her name on them. I'm like, well, she's not She's not like direct messaging me, so what's going on here? And then I see PS2 and I'm like, oh no.
Copy of Okami is not reading well, so I'm gonna if it's the drive, I'm gonna help her work her way through getting a Raspberry Pi set up and all of that to do SMB share.
What is that? So that basically just like obviates the disk drive at that point, is that right?
Completely. It's what I use when I stream.
So cool. I should do. So if I have a PS2 and I have a Raspberry Pi, which I have both, I can do that.
Yeah, you just if you have the Ethernet adapter for the PS2, you can just run a direct Ethernet line to the PS2, and then using, I assume you have MC Boot or free MC Boot.
I don't, but I'm sure I can get it.
Yeah,
well, that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, anything you can do to help, because she has been struggling with this PS2 issue for a significant portion of time.
Yeah,
but
the whole thing, like, it's like pieces of it, or like it's probably like in total like $60 to fix, just in terms of making sure you have the Ethernet adapter, making sure you have the or have an Ethernet port on your PS2 if you have a Slim, and then a Raspberry Pi, and you can just connect it and like basically serve the games off of the Raspberry Pi.
That's fucking amazing. One thing I'll say though, that her being in Mexico, having access to a lot of those weird peripheral things is a lot harder than it would be here. Like, I could run down to my local video game store and buy one, because I know that they just have them, but video game stores in Mexico are not as cool or good.
I know that there is at least a Chinese manufactured knockoff of the SD, or not SD, the Ethernet adapter.
Yeah, that'll probably be the solution on that.
Yeah, it's pretty much the go-to now, because getting an original one's a pain in the ass, and also getting an original one also locks you into having to use an IDE hard drive, which, like, good fucking luck finding one of those. But you can actually do some even like dumber stuff with the knockoff one, because it is set up to use SATA.
Well, I'll be paying attention to all of what you're saying to her on Twitter, because I'll probably eventually do exactly that.
Yeah, hit me up if you need help walking through it as well. I've done it like countless times. I know what I'm doing. It's just a matter of like, you basically just make a server and you host all of your shit on it.
That's so fucking cool. But anyway.
Yeah.
And it loads faster than the DVD drive does normally, because the Ethernet drive speed is 100 megabits per second.
That's so sad, but it makes complete sense.
I think Margaret is still getting her stuff set up. I'm gonna run and grab another bottle of wine. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I just got everything set up. For tonight, it'll only be Resi in Roll20, because I don't think I can run both characters in Roll20 at the same time.
No, that should be fine. As long as you have both of their character sheets up, it should be fine.
Okay, well then let me try to log in here again.
Because the cool thing is that, like, let's just pretend that I had one of your character sheets up for any of you, and I clicked on something that your character would do. It actually pops up on the screen and says, like, so-and-so does the action, so... it should not be an issue. Let's see. And I should probably put some kind of oil on my tattoo. So I'm going to do that super quick.
Not mind me, I'm going to make a bunch of test rolls just to make sure this is working right.
Yeah, by all means.
That did not show up in real time. Damn. Okay.
Sorry for the interruption. I'm back.
No worries. I put some Aquaphor on my tattoo and I grabbed a beer, so I made good use of my time.
Oh no. Oh no, it worked.
Excellent.
You okay?
Well, okay, so it says Marlo at the top because it's me that's logged into Roll20, but it says Resi down below.
And yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. So now I've got to figure out how to get it to actually let me roll Marlo as Marlo. I don't know if I can...
Did you roll off of your sheet or off of Resi's?
That was rolling off of Resi's. So for mine, because I'm already signed in once on D&D Beyond, I had to sign in an incognito browser for Marlo. And it's just, it's having trouble, like, I guess, because it's sort of closeted getting over into Roll20.
Because you should be able to just bring up both character sheets like in different tabs and just switch between them.
Let's try it.
Which I'll admit is obnoxious, but I find myself doing that for a lot of monsters too.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic.
It is working. I have my character sheet open like 3 different times.
Which instance is your favorite?
Number 2. That's the one in the incognito tab, and that's what Marlo likes. Marlo likes to be sneaky.
So let's see. Apologies for the delays and so on my part, but we are good to go. Is somebody willing to do a recap? I think I didn't realize that someone was doing a recap last time, like in the Discord server. So if your desire is to do it there, then that's totally fine.
The recap I did in text last week was mostly just banter.
That works.
And also, like, historiography.
I think I can recap, but some of my bits of memory may be a little fuzzy. So we spent the night in the automaton's shelter, found out that there was this staff that needed to be recovered from the gremlins, and the automatons had a plan to lure out part of the gremlins from their nest while we snuck in and returned or grabbed the scepter. So we went in, fought all the gremlins, fought this very large automaton that I'm not quite sure if it's something the gremlins had control over or if it was extraneous to both parties. We retrieved the scepter. It has some writing on it. And then we found this interesting mirror, and something looked back at us, and I covered it, and that was where we ended.
Excellent. Fantastic. That's a great recap, and you get an inspiration point for giving me that recap. So thank you. Oh boy, that's good beer. All right. So y'all, it is a Prost Hefeweizen.
Oh, Hefeweizens are good.
Mm-hmm. I have been chasing a Hefeweizen named Einger for the better part of 12 years, and I have not found it anywhere outside of Phoenix, Arizona, for some weird reason.
Is it local to Phoenix?
I don't know. I thought it might have been like local to Texas, because you know how they've got that big German community there. But I just cannot find this beer anywhere.
Wild. I will keep an eye out for it. What was the name again?
Anger, and I even like let me see. But it's seriously like the best beer I have ever tasted. I don't drink beers for taste typically, but that one was amazing.
We have like 7 or so high-end liquor stores in town, so I can check around and see if I see it.
But anyhow, sorry, enough of my beer. So y'all are in the sewers currently. You have this creepy mirror. Thankfully, you have been able to deter the goblin menace. There's about another 6 or 7 of them potentially coming back. But you have it on good authority that they will be fleeing as soon as they see that their nest has been compromised. And at least according to the clockwork builders, they believe that their understanding of the gremlin kind of psychology is that they're very likely just going to scatter to the 4 winds. What would you like to do now? Would you like to spend the little time you have left here before the return of the gremlins figuring out this mirror, or would you like to egress and make your way somewhere else?
Does it seem like we can take the mirror with us?
Oh yeah, it's biggish. It's like maybe like 2 feet tall and like a foot wide, but you can carry it with you. It's like a large shield size, in fact.
I vote that we try to take the mirror with us, Nier, and get out of here before we draw any more attention to ourselves. I'm not in love with the idea of more combat, Nier.
I agree.
Marlowe nods vigorously, and just repeats the word safe house over and over, while attempting to pry the mirror up off the floor.
Yeah, the mirror is surprisingly mobile. I use this token, but like imagine it doesn't have a base. It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Marlowe's as presumably the strongest among us, gonna grab the mirror and let's scoot.
Excellent. As you make your way up to the top, and I'm just gonna be somewhat lazy and use the same map that I used before. I'll say that you came across that same site where you had defeated the gremlins. As you make your way through the ruins, I presume back to the safe house that the mechanical builders had taken you to?
That's where I'm going, at least.
All right. The remains of your bonfire are still there, and in the ruins of the building that you had been inspecting, you see a curious creature. It appears to be a man made of clay, rather large. If you wish to move stealthily, you can move without him or it noticing you, but you would need to give me stealth rolls to do so. Otherwise, if you wanted to just, walk up and potentially talk to this thing, you could. Fantastic stealth rolls so far.
I think I would like to roll an insight check.
Go
Does
ahead.
this thing seem like it is unfriendly, or...
You inspect it, and it is kind of gangly. Its movements could be perceived as like aggressive, but as you pay more attention to it, it just seems to be the way that it walks. It doesn't have like a normal human walking motion. It just kind of lopes forward, where maybe its shoulder or its left leg just kind of pushes in front of it in a way that would like kick over a wall or knock over a sapling. but it doesn't seem to be inherently evil or wanting to cause destruction. It just seems to walk in a way that a living thing wouldn't necessarily do.
Menacing and a little spooky.
I'm just gonna walk up to it.
The creature turns to you, and despite the picture of this token here, it doesn't have a mouth. It just has like two holes for eyes as it just kind of looks at you curiously. And it takes this kind of bound over to you, moving more quickly than you think you're comfortable with, but then it stops and kneels down very gently, and puts out its hand, and in its hand there seems to be a pendant.
Sorry, is it doing that to me specifically? Or
Who walked up to it?
yeah, that was me, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then yes.
Talia would hold out her hand and take the pendant, if that's what it's doing, is offering it, I assume.
It seems to, yes.
Okay. Then yes, she would take the pendant. Well, hello there. Aren't you a mysterious creature?
This giant clay creature just nods in response. It kind of does no worries. It kind of moves its head to the side, kind of like in a curious motion, kind of trying to study you.
Okay. Could I take a look at the pendant? Like a closer look at it? Inspect it?
Yeah. If I could get you to make a history check.
Okay.
This is definitely an elven pendant from the previous empire, and it actually has an anagram of let's say EF. Not an anagram. You know what I'm saying? It's like two letters on the.
Okay. Oh, is the anagram in Elven?
It is, yes.
Okay. Sensing no immediate threat from the creature, Talia turns around to look at her other friends. And
Talia sees us.
yeah, I was gonna say, actually, I don't know if I can even see you right now. Maybe she doesn't. You're rather well hidden.
That's true.
Are you guys gonna come out of hiding now that you're watching me interact with it, or no?
Yeah, I will. Marlowe comes up to Talia, sort of cocking his head to one side. Deceit field magics?
Eerie is going to stay hidden for the time being.
Okay.
The clay creature turns to Marlowe and then turns back to Talia.
Mm-hmm.
And with his, so he's got one hand outstretched, which once held the pendant, and with his other hand waves at you, kind of like in a mournful goodbye, and starts melting. Like he turns into this just giant pile of clay. And beneath that entire pile, like as it kind of melts away, you notice that there is a skeleton that was apparently like kind of the core of this creature at one point.
Marlowe looks at it sadly and attempts to figure out what kind of creature it was. I guess that's an insight check, I don't know. While also saying, My heart is not compact of flint nor steel, nor can I utter all our bitter grief, but floods of tears will drown my oratory.
Excellent. So with that roll, you don't know much. If someone maybe wants to make a medicine check, that might be appropriate.
Can I make a second check? I actually do medicine.
Okay. So the both of you recognize this skeleton to be an elven skeleton. It's not unheard of to you would imagine that elven ruin would have elven skeletons. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But you do, because one of you made a history check. I'll say, actually, Marlo, you remember there being a story that you heard long, long ago about a man who was an elven man who was encased in clay and wandered the ruins of Mithranor, seeking some kind of closure, as if a ghost. And this at least seems to be some manner of iteration of that old ghost story.
Since I have heard this story, is it possible that I could recite the story back for my traveling companions as we continue onward?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to tell them the story that I have heard.
Who told you that story? This is like a thought exercise. I want you to think about that.
The person who told me the story was someone who came to my order's archive quite some time ago. He spent most of his days in study, again, looking for further folklore. But in the evenings, he would have dinner with the paladins and the other monks of the order. And he would tell some of the stories that he had gathered from elsewhere. One of my fellow monks was very keen on folklore and copied all of them down, so I've heard it and also read it. But I can't really mimic the things that I've only read, except on paper.
Excellent. So you all hear the voice of this man from some time in Marlowe's past, as Marlowe perfectly mimics the voice, speaking this mournful and even spooky tale of the man in clay, as the story came to be known. But the skeleton lies in this puddle of very runny clay now, and the pendant seems to glow ever so slightly before going dark once more. So far, that's all that seems to happen in this immediate vicinity, and you think that you just happened upon a living ghost story. But thankfully, nothing else seems to happen. There's no danger, no risk to your life, at least at the moment.
It's kind of... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's kind of off the wall, but can I make an Arcana check regarding the pendant?
Yeah.
Because it's giving me Arcana vibes. Never mind.
You had a hunch, and that hunch is quickly replaced by a firefly that has caught your attention, and so I'm sure you are now following it and not the thought of the pendant.
That sounds about like Eerie.
So you all, after this strange happening, make your way back to the Clockwork Builders Club, let's call it, or headquarters. And it is rather late in the evening at this point, after you had done all of the actions in the sewers. And they're rather happy. They just see you and they say, well, we believe that we were able to pull off the trick and to peel away some of the gremlins from the sewers. Were you successful in your mission? Did you receive the scepter you were looking for?
Marlo pushes Talia gently forward.
Thank you, Marlo. Talia approaches, and I guess tells the story of everything that just happened to the group, and presents the scepter.
Excellent. So they're impressed and happy, and they say, "Very good. that is for you to keep. We will continue repairing as much of Mythdraenor as we can, but even with our current timetable, we don't believe we'll be done with this quadrant for probably another 2 years. Until then, feel free to avail yourselves of this headquarters and whatever we happen to build. And Your Highness, and he refers to Talia, please, when you are ready, you may assume the throne that you see before you. And he kind of gestures to the throne at the back of the room.
Ari cocks her head at the word highness.
Talia also cocks her head at the word highness and looks at the mechanical man and speaks to him directly. I am not of royal blood. Are you perhaps mistaking me with someone else?
But you are an elf, are you not?
I am a moon elf.
Your lineage is needed here. Though you may not be of direct royal ascent, my fear is that there is none left of that royal blood. We would love to have you become the new queen of Mythdraenor if you are ready to take up the mantle.
Talia's eyes go wide, and she stammers a bit. She's in shock at that suggestion.
Truth be told, we're honestly waiting for someone to assume the mantle. Many have come through, many have rejected it. There seems to be an underlying elven belief that Mythdraenor is better off staying buried, but we have been programmed to see it come back to fruition. We would love for someone else among the elves to share our dedication, given that the elves were the ones that programmed us to believe so.
Well, Talia, it's not every day that you get your own kingdom, Niram.
Talia seems lost in thought for a moment, but then looks back at the mechanical man and nods at him. Well, I am not ready to take up the mantle of royalty, but if it's what you and your people have worked so hard towards, who am I to deny you the fulfillment of your quest?
Wonderful. And know that we do not wish to deny you the life experiences of adventure. This throne can be here for you when you return, if you so wish. You need only place it on layaway. That is an old elven term for keeping it here until you are ready.
Thank you, kind sir. I appreciate that. Would you like me to take my seat at the throne right now?
It is merely a symbolic throne, but if you wish to sit upon it, that would make many of the other builders very happy.
Talia nods and smiles at him, wanting to thank him and the rest of the builders for their graciousness towards her and her friends so far, and she walks towards the throne and takes her seat there.
Oh, wow. Okay. You do that, and as you do, the throne begins to emit light. Give me a wisdom saving throw. By the way, if you ever want to move your character like between the grid, you just have to hold the Alt key when you move your character, and it'll allow it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Which is wisdom saving? I'm looking at D&D Beyond.
Yeah, it should be on your saving throws below your ability scores on the left-hand side. Excellent. You receive a strong vision as you sit upon this throne. You're able to kind of intuit through your strong mind that you're looking into the future, and you see a future in which Mithranor has been restored many years into the future. You step out onto a balcony, and you see a crowd, not of elves, but a multifaceted crowd, very diverse, of many different races, bringing back Mithranor not as an elven empire, but an empire of inclusivity and of an amazing melting pot that calls together the disparate folk of the Forgotten Realms who perhaps have been forgotten by the current prosperity that humanity is enjoying. And then the vision.
It ends then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Talia gasps and looks toward the end of the hall at her friends. Friends, I have just been granted a vision, presumably from the throne upon which I sit, of the future of Mithranor, and it appears it has been fully restored, but not just for my people, but for all people. I do not know if this was a vision into the future or a dream, but it seemed so real to me.
Eerie is suspicious of the throne.
Do you want to roll an insight check on the throne?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Very average roll.
It's difficult to know without having experienced what Talia did, but you believe that the throne didn't so much have an agenda so much as it just called forth a vision of the future. It was a vision without any agenda, let's say.
Eerie explains that to the party.
Marlowe says, the eagle suffers little birds to sing and is not careful what they mean thereby.
One thing that I will point out is that the mechanical builders have been built and programmed by the elves and are thereby very biased in favor of elves. The throne as well is very biased against elves, and you would imagine that if the throne itself had an agenda, if it was going to give a vision of the future that it wanted rather than what was, it would have been like, hey, you rebuilt Mithranor, and all of the elves are now back here, and it's a grand old time, and all of the stinky non-elves get to stay outside of the city walls. But that didn't happen, and so you think that it was at least genuine, this vision, and not just some fabrication of propaganda.
So it's not a racist throne, is what you mean?
Little racist.
Apparently the function of the throne overrode the form that the elves had built it for. They just presumed that the future was an elven future, but they didn't think to actually program that into the throne.
The throne is about as racist as your grandparents, but not as racist as Fox News.
Okay. Intermediate racism.
That's a great way to put it.
Marlowe just shrugs, says, reclaim this sector for greatness. And then turns to some of the builders and asks, the man in clay?
The builders respond and they say, yes, specifically so far it's been RF682 who has been speaking, but he says, yes, we have run into the man, the clay man a number of times, but he's been hostile so far. Did he fight you?
Marlowe shakes his head.
We don't know how to make gears or bolts of this clay man, but if you ran into him and he did not fight you, he must have fulfilled some inner design. By the way, just that he must have fulfilled some inner design. He must have attained some kind of inner desire. Who's holding the scepter and who's holding the pendant?
And the mirror? I kind of wanted
And the
to show
mirror.
that
That's
to
a good
them.
question.
I assume Talia's holding the pendant.
Mm-hmm.
And Eerie, aren't you holding the mirror? Did you pick it up?
I have the mirror.
Marlo has the mirror, you have the pendant, and Rezi has the stave.
So Talia, when you sit on the throne, the pendant also seems to glow.
Oh, okay. It's a racist pendant too.
What's that?
Said it's a racist pendant too.
No, you think it's just reacting to old elven magic. I guess you could say that that's a racist thing, but
Can I see it glowing
It's
from
a
where
little
I'm
racism.
standing?
yeah,
Or am I
and
way too far away?
it's a prominent glow. The pendant itself, it's like the throne glows golden and the pendant glows purple.
Marlo goes up to Talia and holds out one taloned hand, sort of gesturing at the pendant as he does so.
Talia gets the hint and takes the pendant from her hand and raises it and ties it. I presume it ties or clasps her together or whatever behind her neck, letting it sit on her breastbone.
Go ahead.
Oh no, if it's gonna do something, go first, please.
I was just gonna say, Talia, go ahead and give me a perception check as you do that.
Okay.
Talia, you notice, and it's very brief and very faint on the pendant as you let it rest upon you. There's a very small silhouette of like an elven ballerina dancing within the pendant.
Did I notice that, or did Marlo notice it too?
Marlo, if you want to make a perception check, I would allow that as well. But
Okay.
Talia definitely did.
Okay.
Because Marlo's next action is to get uncomfortably close after making a little soft huffing sound to examine the pendant in detail. Oh, that's persuasion, not perception.
Hmm.
Come on. Oh no, why is it not rolling?
Oh, wow.
God.
Oh.
We're having some technical difficulties here. Please understand.
Which perception are we going with?
Oh god, that's
Well,
Resi too. Okay, there we go.
Okay, can we
So we
can we
have
have one
one.
roll that's actually Marlo?
Yes,
Yeah.
at 15.
Okay. So I'll say that you notice just a little tiny, we'll call it like a dot of movement within the pendant. You just kind of notice this like little bit. Like if you didn't think better, you'd think like there was like a small bug just moving across the pendant. You just didn't see it clearly enough.
Marlo squawks with excitement and tries to get that bug.
Is he like pecking at the pendant?
Oh my god.
Please,
Yes.
Please, yes. Okay. Talia laughs at Marlo. Silly fellow, what are you trying to catch? It's a ballerina. It's inside of the pendant, and I don't think it is something that you can catch with your beak.
I'll use the advantage of my power and lay the summer's dust with showers of blood. Marlo's main point
Sorry.
here was to make a history check to see if he knows anything about this pendant, but he doesn't. He's too distracted by getting made fun of. Marlo sulks off back to his
Aw.
sleeping quarters. Steals an extra blanket.
Just like 47 blankets now.
Nice.
Gotta nest properly, dudes.
Mm-hmm. You can't
There's
have too
like
many.
a port somewhere now. But yes, all of that happens. The glow eventually subsides upon the pendant itself. We'll say that the pendant actually had glown for much longer than the throne had, actually. But all of that being said, the mechanical builders as well as the mechanical guardians just kneel. They're in awe of this display, and they seem to be bolstered by the fact that the throne seems to have reacted so strongly to you, Talia.
Okay. Marlo, did you go to bed, or were you just joking?
Oh no, Marlo sulked off. Marlo's working
okay.
on his transcriptions, bundled up in his little nest.
Well, Talia, it seems like you have your own little court now, Nero. What are you going to do now?
Talia looks back, tilting her head a bit at Eerie, and thinking aloud, I hadn't really planned this far, and I certainly hadn't expected the reaction that we're seeing in front of us right now. My only plan was to continue on with our adventures together. I have no intent to stay here and rule over a mechanical army. Talia then changes the subject, but still addresses Eerie, asking aloud, what do you think might happen if I should also hold the scepter while sitting upon the throne?
Try it, Nero.
Rezi, who is always up for any chaos, dances up to the throne and hands over the scepter.
That's completely appropriate.
That's cute. Talia smiles gratefully and takes the scepter in her hand while sitting upon the throne. Thank you, kind friend. And both of them, I assume, then look at the scepter.
So you hold the scepter while being up on the throne?
Yeah. While sitting on the throne still, yeah, holding it.
Yeah. So the scepter also glows. And it sets the whole thing off again. In fact, make me another wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Woof.
Okay. This time, you feel a much stronger vision. The vision before was kind of like if you were watching it like remotely. This time you feel it. You are transported once again into the future. However, this seems to be some kind of a parallel projection. This kind of like idea, like the vision you saw before was like this is how things will go if they go well. You now see and feel and experience a vision of the future if things go poorly, and you see Mithranor in flames, destroyed, with massive mountain-sized chunks of rock having fallen on it, creating craters and destruction. You see the same kinds of crowds, this very diverse group of people who are, composed of every race you can think of, running through the streets trying to find safety as these strange beings of energy seem to be moving through and devouring or destroying everything in their path. Once you have seen that to its conclusion, you just see like this kind of minute-long scene of destruction. You snap back to reality and are shaken. I don't know what your specific reaction to that would be, but you are at least kind of shook to your core by that vision and experience.
Talia is visibly shaking as she jumps up off of the throne and drops the scepter out of her hand. That's how badly she's shaking. And it takes her a couple seconds to regain her senses. Then she turns to Rezi and says with a very fearful voice, "I am not sure that the vision I had before was so much of a prophecy as a possibility. It seems as though the throne might have been telling me that there are other outcomes, and they aren't so, and those ones aren't so good. There may be destruction still ahead for Myth Draenor."
Well, Rezi certainly doesn't like this news, but in her fungus-addled state, she can't really respond properly. She tries to express her feelings with interpretive dance.
That makes sense. But with all of that being said and done, you all are afforded a rather nice and luxurious long rest within the headquarters. You still have a room that is just for you to sleep on soft beds with linens that have already been cleaned since the last time that you've been there. You don't know how the mechanical builders clean these, but they seem to have done a fantastic job, and everything smells slightly of lilac. In the morning, the mechanical builders have even provided for you a continental breakfast, and while you're concerned that their tastes and kind of predilections might lead to them giving you stale emergency rations from some bunker, everything seems to taste just fine, and they have even seemed to have procured a small selection of fruits that are fresh as the day is long.
Marlowe is very excited by the selection of fruits. And if there are enough left over at the end, is going to pack some away.
Yeah, and
later.
the builders are super happy to let you do that. They even like offer to pack it up for you.
Excellent.
Talia is of a similar mind, excited over the fruit, and begins to put together a small plate for herself, and will also be packing some away for whatever adventures await them.
Fantastic.
Before we get too excited about packing things away, Niam, where are we going now?
Talia thinks to herself for a moment and then turns to Eerie with a question. Do you think it would be prudent for us to show the builders the mirror that we had found the other day in the sewers? They might have some insight into its purpose.
I would like to know what they think about it, Niam, but the bird has it, Niam.
Marlowe nods and pulls out the mirror. Sort of holds it up quizzically.
The builders are kind of they let out a gasp of, well, not a gasp, but they let out like sounds of awe as they notice the mirror. And it's actually the other builder, DVRY99, who approaches and just kind of looks at the mirror. You can see his and hear his mechanical eyes kind of focusing on it. And he takes a step back respectfully to say, well, I believe that this mirror seems to have been some kind of an artifact left over by the Netherese Empire. We thought that we had expunged all of those things. Each and every one of them has been some kind of a metaphorical landmine. The Netherese are the ancient enemies of the elves. You might have something dangerous there, but were it to me, I would destroy it. But I don't wish to tell you how to conduct yourselves.
Was ever book containing such vile matters so fairly bound? You should seal this lawless bloody book.
One of the guardians steps forward and speaks in this kind of stilted voice. We can destroy. Give it to us, if you choose.
Marlowe looks back at his companions. Seal this lawless bloody book?
Talia stops to think for a moment, but then slowly nods and agrees. For all of our sakes and safety, perhaps it is best destroyed.
What happens if it's not?
Can I make a history check to see if I know anything more about the, provenance of this mirror?
What kind of check?
History.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not getting anything. You know that this mirror is very significant and very powerful, but you just can't seem to recall anything. You think it is just simply a lack of learning, a lack of experience. If somebody else wants to make a history check, they can.
I'm rolling poorly today, so the history check could be my really good chance at actually rolling a 0.
Yeah, same.
See. And yep. So no luck on that history check so far. Let me think. Do you want to roll for oh no, you already rolled for Resi. Do you want to roll for Marlowe?
Oh wait, was that Resi I rolled for earlier? Yeah, that would make sense. Because that was not a good roll. There's Marlowe.
Oh, much better. Yeah. So no, Marlowe. So yeah, all of that applied to Resi. Marlowe knows that this is evidently a famous artifact of the Netherese. The Netherese, because you all probably don't know, but the Netherese is this ancient empire of wizards, and they basically got up to some pretty nefarious things. But the Netherese wizards would like to mess with timelines. They would like to do things across the ages, and they very often sought counsel from the past. This mirror is actually meant to contact the past. However, you are in the past part of the mirror, so you have figured out that this mirror actually looks into the future.
So, what happens if we have Talia sit on the throne and then look into the mirror, yeah?
It's a great question. I don't know if Talia's Talia is up for that, but if she wanted to, she could give that a shot.
Or better yet, what happens if you are sitting on the throne and you reach into the mirror, yeah?
The mirrors seem to have a membrane of almost like a liquid, viscous surface that you could reach into.
Talia.
Marlowe's-
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you want to dive in, yeah?
Yeah, Marlowe?
Marlowe simply holds up the mirror and shouts, "The future comes apace."
I could sit on the throne and reach into the mirror, or sorry, not reach into, and to look into the mirror as I did yesterday. But do you not recall the wizard who looked back at us? What if they see me on the throne and there are some unforeseen consequences?
What are they going to do? Jump back in time and fight you, Nia?
Talia starts to wonder if that's actually a thing that could happen.
Marlowe thinks for a moment, and thinks for a moment, and thinks for a moment, then looks at Talia and says, in a perfect mimicry of Eerie, "It's not every day that you get your own kingdom, yeah?"
Talia bends over laughing at that impression. Marlowe, you're getting really good at those.
Marlowe just looks at her confusedly, and then sort of sets the mirror down where it could potentially be looked into and reached at from the throne.
All right. Talia, give me a perception check. And what was that persuasion check for?
Me?
No, from Eerie.
Mostly out of curiosity, but like I said, I'm rolling hella low today, so nothing.
Oh, because you wanted to persuade me to go to the throne and do that? Okay.
No, well, yes, but like no.
Did he say perception?
Persuasion, or yeah, he asked you for a perception.
Perception, yes.
Marlowe's looking real persuasive, beckoning ever so gently.
So you look into the mirror, Talia, and you actually see yourself. It's kind of weird. It's almost like, hey, that's what this mirror is actually supposed to do. But you see yourself in the future, potentially some 500 odd years into the future, and you are old, maybe not as old as you would imagine to be at 500. Elves to kind of like die between 500 and 600. But you look old. You look like a human might at in their late 60s or so. And you have at your side in one of the side thrones what appears to be a human mage, kind of sitting in the it's what is it when a queen marries someone and they're not quite king? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's consort.
The consort, yeah. So the consort appears to be a human of some sort. And he is dressed in a very specific kind of regalia that denotes that he's not part of the Elven Empire. And if you did, let's see, give me a quick history check. It's like what you've rolled with the most of this game. It's kind of crazy. This game is just like a weird history lesson.
So the human is my consort?
In that future, yes.
Ew.
He is dressed in the regalia of the Netherese Empire.
Ew.
Yeah. And there's a ripple across the surface of the mirror and the vision fades. And it just goes back to being a normal mirror. At least for the...
Was Talia the only one who saw that, or was Marlowe watching when Talia did that?
If Marlowe was close enough, I would say that that he would see that.
Marlowe is absolutely not looking in the mirror, just in case something goes terribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We had like a cloth or something thrown over it before, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So after seeing the vision and looking less than pleased, Talia throws it back over the mirror. I'm assuming she's the only one who saw it, so she tells the rest of them exactly what she saw.
Marlowe repeats her description of the human consort in a slightly different tone.
Different, like more positive about him?
More cynical, let's say.
Okay. I feel likewise, Marlowe, not just about that human, but about this whole thing. I, for one, vote that we destroy the mirror.
In fact, the two guardians have like moved up and are dutifully waiting to see if you will allow them to do so.
Would it be okay if we took a break here for just a second?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's call a 5-minute break. In fact, I'm going to go grab a snack.
Okay.
So I will be right back.
Okay.
Perfect. I have returned. I don't know if anybody else is back yet.
I'm back.
I'm back.
Okay.
Back with a glass of Windex.
A glass of Windex, huh?
Actually, this is purple, so it's not Windex, but
Not for
Now,
lack of trying.
I did put blue curacao in it, so I tried to get it blue. I got purple instead. It's vodka, raspberry syrup, blue curacao, and then seltzer.
Now I'm just imagining like some real jerk giving out Windex snow cones.
Dude, Windex is the perfect color, so like, let's go.
It's like, just imagine trying to eat a snow cone and you're expecting like this tropical coconut flavor, and then it's just Windex.
But then your windows are really clean. Also, just as a heads up, I'm trying my best, but like, my brain's shot today.
How is your day going?
Great, actually. It's been a lovely day.
That's good. I guess I forgot, but we're actually going to a baseball game as an entire school tomorrow, so that's going to be fun.
That'll be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, I am back.
Welcome back.
So, Elvin, since we're still like just coming off break, a local shop has 4 different kinds of the beer that you were talking about.
Oh my god.
Do you want us to send you some?
You know, I won't say no. That's amazing.
If you send us your address, we will send you some.
I'm almost scared that it would end up skunked.
We can get like a cooler box or something. Pack it in dry ice.
Hmm.
There are
Look.
ways to ship alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to be so inclined, I don't want anyone to go out of their way for me ever, but if you're going to offer, I will accept.
I will buy a case and try it, and if I like it, then I will see if I can send you some. And if I don't like it, I might see if I can send you some. And whatever. But yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Okie dokie. No worries, no rush. That's my catchphrase.
I mean, you've been waiting over a decade. What's a couple of weeks?
No, the last time I had it was, God, 2007?
Jesus.
Wow.
So let me tell you what happened. Okay, let me start at the beginning. My buddy had a manga company. He was trying to start a company from Canada that would either translate or create new manga. So there was an anime convention down in Phoenix that he wanted us to go to promote the company and to sell copies and all of that business. We sponsored the singer-songwriter Voltaire. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
And went down there.
Despite being 8 years younger than you, yes.
I mean, I think you're the perfect age to know him because he did, I think, a song for The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. But anyhow, so we were there with him. He was great. I have a bunch of stories to tell about that convention that I'll spare you for now. There was a murder in the motel that we were staying at, so we got moved up the street to another motel. And all of this crazy stuff. But that was the convention I went to that had the Iyengar beer. I'll tell you one quick story. Someone we had a booth and everything set up so people could meet Voltaire. He did a concert. It was really cool. Somebody took him a Death Note, which if you know anything about Death Note, you already know kind of the premise of it and everything. But Voltaire had no idea. He was just like, "What is this?" And the nerdy dude handing it to him, he very quickly recaps well, the Death Note is this thing, and you write in it, and the person dies, whatever. So Voltaire, he's like, "Oh, okay," and he is talking as he's signing, and he's like, "Voltaire, smothered in breasts."
Roll Tide. I mean, if you gotta go,
but I always
Definitely
appreciate.
worse. Worse ways.
But yes, so That's my story. I have more of Voltaire's stories about that convention. It was a wild convention, but we are all back from break. I have my French dip sandwich.
Ooh, yum.
Yes. What would y'all like to do? What's that?
French dip sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. What would y'all like to do now that you've had your thrown magic item experimentation session?
So Talia, are you going to take your place as queen now, Neo?
Talia glances at Eerie nervously after having seen what she did in the mirror and says, "Oh, I'm not so sure now that it is such a good idea. After what I saw in the mirror, I'd rather that future did not come to pass."
You do get the distinct idea or kind of opinion that those were two parallel futures in which both you were queen.
Oh, okay. Still risky.
Mm-hmm. The mechanical guardians are waiting to see what you want them to do with the mirror.
Well, Talia said she would probably want to destroy it. Like, I guess she's not sure yet what other use it would have. Like, they could just keep it, I guess. It's kind of big. They could keep it around and, like, look into it every now and then, but... Could you fit a whole person, just hypothetically, in the mirror? Could you throw them in there?
It would depend on how big they were. I've had to break into my own house at various times in my past.
Mm.
And it's always a matter of, like, can your head fit through an opening and can your shoulders?
Head, shoulders, and hips.
Cats are really good at that.
Excuse me?
Well, I'm just saying, like, don't cats have, like, weird, messed up shoulders that can move around?
Ma'am?
Listen.
Ma'am?
It's just a suggestion.
Ma'am, you might want to lay off the sauce.
Never.
I was waiting for, like, ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah, me too.
Well, holding the mirror carefully, keep it propped up, Marlowe sort of takes a step forward, lays a hand on Talia's shoulder, only for fixing things, and then sort of, like, beckons her to come around and hold the mirror.
So Talia does do that and takes a hold of the mirror.
Marlowe plops himself up on the throne, gets comfy, and looks in.
Oh, that's cute.
Marlo, give me a wisdom saving throw. Excellent. You were overtaken by a vision, and you are standing at Talia's side. You are dressed in the regalia of, like, the chief knight of the kingdom. It is the same vision. I don't know if Talia spoke the vision to all of you, but it's the one where you're on the balcony, looking out over a diverse crowd.
Marlowe's going to reach a hand in.
Into the mirror?
Into the mirror.
Now I want you to give me a strength saving throw.
Balls.
Sorry, I'm finishing my sandwich.
Marlowe is scanning his brain for some line about immortality and, dear God, how did I live that long? This isn't right.
So this vision actually is like maybe, like let's call it 20 years into the future.
Okay.
Haley is not like 500 years old. But with that strength saving throw, you get sucked into the mirror.
With a loud
Am I just holding it and Marlowe just yeets in there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. So Talia screams immediately upon seeing that. Oh.
So how do we get the bird out of the mirror now?
The bird. Oh, did the builders see that happen?
They did, yeah.
I don't know why I'm asking. It's not like they would know how to get someone back. So immediately worried for Marlowe, Talia might not be as prudent as she normally would be when making an important decision like that, and immediately tries to follow him through the mirror to get him back.
Okay. So I'm creating this like weird little oval. This is kind of like the space within the mirror. And you see what appears to be like an elven mage on the other side. And he smiles at both of you because you're now both in this kind of mirror dimension. And he says, well, it's about time you decided to pay me a visit. I was starting to get lonely.
Horny elf.
I long to hear the story of your life.
As most of you should. What bids you into my domain, limited as it is?
All this derision shall seem a dream and fruitless vision.
The mysterious elven mage just kind of smiles at Marlowe and then looks over at Talia. And you?
Do you by chance have any money?
Any what?
Do you by chance have any money?
He
Corporeal form.
his smile widens ever so slightly and he says yes. And he walks over and gently places a bag of coins on the ground and backs away. They are yours if you wish.
Talia is very suspicious of all this, including
Marlowe
that,
just
including the
looks.
coins.
And by the way, anyone else who wants to can just walk up and they see this unfolding in the mirror.
Yeah, I'm imagining Resi is going to position herself kind of like right up close to the mirror, not quite touching, but you know.
Oh yeah.
I can't actually move her token, but
Eerie is definitely watching this unfold.
I didn't think about it, but I'm going to go ahead and give you control over Rezi's token, so you can.
Okay.
So the elven mage continues. It is all yours. I can give you everything that your heart desires, if you merely do a few things for me.
Marlowe looks over at Talia. Dost thou not perceive that here is but a wilderness of tigers?
Talia catches on to the meaning, and her eyes are already narrowed in suspicion at this elven mage, and she nods to Marlowe's question. How do we know that we can trust you, sir?
You don't, but you are in my domain, and you did ask for money.
Can I roll an insight check on him?
Yeah, absolutely. You're having a hard time getting a good read on him. He's got quite the poker face.
If I want gold, steal but a beggar's dog.
The offers.
Arlo kicks the bag back at him.
Okay. His smile fades slightly, and he's just kind of more bemused than happy. But he continues and says, "The offer's on the table. I am here as long as the mirror is here. But if you wish to reject me, reject the mirror. If you wish to return, keep the mirror. It is all up to you." He retrieves the bag of coins.
What language is he speaking?
He's speaking Elven.
Oh, so never mind. I can't understand a goddamn thing. I'm just sitting here making noises at him.
Is he using like magic so that Marlo can understand though?
Yeah, I'll say so. He has probably cast tongues and you don't speak language. So yeah, I'll say Marlo understands.
Okay.
And just to be clear again, this is all happening in that future where like this whole place is restored.
So you're not sure what this is actually. You do see that you are in like an elven study, and it does give you the impression that it's the future, but you're not sure which of the two futures you saw is this. In fact, it could be a third future altogether.
Okay.
He does say, "Where are my manners? You may address me as Archmage Garvati."
I'm guessing my history checks don't extend to the future.
No, although I'll allow you to make a check in case the surname, because you think that Garvati is his surname. Maybe it rings a bell. You believe that you've heard of a powerful Netherese family named Garvati, and as you think about that, you think that this elf may have had like half elf or human ancestry in his bloodline somewhere. Are you confused? You are in the future, one that you have built through your own actions. But if you wish to deny the passage of time, if you wish to live in the past, go back. Feel free to ignore the riches that I can promise you. And all will be well. Or I can give you the keys to prosperity, and you will be living on a mountain of wealth.
Talia eyes him suspiciously after he said that and asks him, "And how would it benefit you to offer us prosperity and mountains of wealth?"
Well, I suppose therein lies the matter. I am here to ensure that this timeline comes to pass. To ensure that I am born into this reality. Is that such a crime? I can see from your hesitation that you have not come to a conclusion. I have as much time as you need. Please, retreat from this mirror. Come back when your mind is clear. Come back when you are in need of what I can give.
Before leaving, can she ask one more question of him?
Sure. He seems very accommodating.
Okay. Talia looks at the Archmage and asks, am I an ancestor of yours? Is it important that I personally see this future come to pass in order that you might be born?
He seems struck by the question. as if he wasn't expecting you to say that, and he says, "It is important that you live for me to be who I am."
My sins are visited in this poor child? Thou speakest of dreams which are the children of an idle brain, begot of nothing but vain fantasy.
He's not happy with hearing that. He's very annoyed by it. He even wrinkles his nose.
Is the mirror that we went through, like, we can just step back through it? It's behind us still?
Yeah, in fact, what you see is that your mirror that you can carry around is connected to his, like, full length, like, bolted into the ground mirror.
Okay.
Out of character question.
Sure.
Is there anything stopping him from just walking back through the mirror?
You're not sure. That's an excellent question. You don't know if there's some kind of a ban or reason that he doesn't just come back in time himself. But at least insofar as you've noticed, he has not attempted to do so.
Well, Archmage, you've given us a lot to consider. I think for now, my friend and I might retreat through the mirror and confer with one another before we give you an answer. As you said, you have all the time in the world.
I do. Take
What
your
in
time.
time?
Go ahead.
Marlowe creeps back through the mirror. Quietly.
When you both emerge from the mirror, the surface of it goes black, and it seems to be, at least for the time being, magically inert.
Marlowe immediately flips the mirror, like, face down on the floor.
So I take it that you still want to destroy the mirror, yeah?
I have had a most rare vision. I have had a dream past the wit of man to say what dream it was. Man is but an ass.
Well put.
My sight is very dull, whate'er it bodes.
What does Talia have to say about that strange visitation?
I do not know which future that we have entered there, but I do know I do not trust that Archmage.
Strange question, Talia, yeah? What vibe did you get off the Archmage, yeah?
Well, I had the impression that he wants something from us and that he may even be manipulating us. For some reason in my gut, I felt that he may not be who he says he is, or even appear as who he appeared as to us in the mirror.
Marlowe draws himself up as tall and foreboding as his, like, tiny 5-foot-tall frame can get. In clear mimicry of the Archmage's stance. And then just tosses his purse onto the floor and starts strutting about.
So why didn't you take the money back through the mirror with you, Nyo?
Marlowe stops. Marlowe faints.
Oh. Talia sighs and walks over to Marlowe and gently strokes his feathers, waiting for him to wake back up, but then turns back to Eerie and remarks, I assume, I can't speak for Marlowe, but for my own part, I didn't want to touch anything that he offered us. It seemed as though he was expecting something in return, and anything he might have given us wasn't so much a gift as an unspoken trade.
But I mean, the mirror is connected to the future, you know? Whatever debt you incur with him is something that you don't have to pay for quite some time. Besides, bring the money back with you, then smash the mirror and you owe him no debts. Yeah.
Talia smiled at Eerie, but shook her head. I am not too interested in gold, Eerie.
Gold is the engine that lets us do what we want, yeah. But I agree.
For what it's worth,
So what
Marlowe
do we
looks
do with the
very
mirror
sad.
now?
Oh, Marlowe woke up?
Oh no, he's been awake. He's just been sad.
Aw.
And for what it's worth, Marlowe's like, yeah, we probably should have grabbed that money. Asked for money.
Talia, still stroking Marlowe's feathers, turns back to him and notices him looking sad and asks, "There's still time to go back if you really wanted to take that gold, Marlowe. Would you be interested? I could come with you."
Marlowe just shakes his head. I have thrown a brave defiance.
What did he want from you? Yeah.
Talia stands up, having stopped petting Marlowe, and turns back to Eerie and starts walking towards them and then back towards Marlowe, sort of pacing. "I'm not entirely sure. Since I don't trust him, I can't be sure of anything that he said, but it seemed to me as though he was very intent on ensuring that the future we saw him in came to pass. I might even go so far as to say that he requires us to ensure that he comes into being somehow."
Marlowe nods, waiting for someone to assume the mantle.
So is he related to you, Neo?
I did ask him, and he seemed incredibly surprised by my question. He didn't.
Herald the return of the Elven Empire. Marlowe does his best shocked impression.
So let's work off the impression that he is your descendant, Neo? Relative, Neo? Whatever we make of it. What do you do with that knowledge, Neo?
Well, Talia begins, trying to consider all of the possibilities they'd already seen today thus far. If the vision of the future in which I am a queen who's ruled for many years with a consort by my side does come to pass, then perhaps that is the future in which the Archmage finds himself, seeing as he had the last name of the humans of that time, but also the appearance of an elf, or at least a half-elf. It's very possible that he is a direct descendant of my own. And Talia shudders a bit at that, thinking aloud that I wouldn't be entirely pleased knowing that he was my progeny.
He's going to stay, Neo. If he's your son, you made some decisions, Neo.
Talia
Marlowe.
gives Eerie a withering look at that, but also is in agreement. I must have been a terrible mother, she thinks, looking very sad.
Marlowe, sort of, now that he's had a minute to process everything, starts looking at the mirror fondly and chanting, "Lovely little library. Lovely little library."
Did you have books you wanted to steal, little bird, Neo?
Lovely little library.
So that's a yes then.
The mirror is now inert, you said, right?
Currently, yes.
Do we know how long? I guess we have no idea how long it takes to recharge.
Right. You've had very little experience with this mirror so far, but yeah, you're not sure. What it's like what makes this mirror tick insofar as how it works and so far and so on. So you're not sure.
For now, let's discard the idea that this mirror has any bearing on our current situations. Yeah? We'll cover it up, we'll push it into the corner, and we'll think on the decisions we have to make. Clearly, there's someone in the far-flung future who wants you to assume the mantle of queen. Yeah? So, all we need to do is just make sure you don't die. For now. And then we can solve other problems as they come up.
Talia looks a little exasperated at that. Yes, not dying would be nice, she says.
But for now, my point being, we don't need to concern ourselves overly with whether or not your, frankly, terrible son, is trying to ensure his creation, which is strange and kind of unsettling to think about now. But notwithstanding, for now, all we need to concern ourselves with is keeping you alive and then figuring out where we want to go to next. And if you decide that you want to go back through the mirror and take a bribe from your son or your nephew or some strange little elf child who I guess wants to be your financial benefactor, odd, great. And if Marlowe wants to go back through the mirror and thieve the entire library of the elven future, so be it.
Library.
But that's not a question for today. Yeah?
Talia tiredly agrees with him. Sorry, with her. Yes, I think that sounds best. I don't know about any of these futures or how they'll come to be or what part I have to play in it, and frankly, it's exhausting and terrifying to consider anymore for now. All I do know is that I will swear off marriage and motherhood as long as that little shit is my son.
Perhaps you might be overthinking it. We don't know he's your son. We don't know he's related to you at all. He might just be some little elf child who only manages to survive urchindom because of your immaculate kingdom that you create. Yeah. So, for now, we shouldn't concern ourselves with far-flung futures from 200 years from now. But simply figure out what we want to do tomorrow. Yeah?
Sorry, hold on, out of character question. The thing that we were just in with the Archmage, wasn't that 20 years from now? Because Marlowe would have been dead otherwise? So it's like not that far away?
You're actually not sure. So you've seen many visions. One of them was like 20 years from now where at least Marlowe was there and Talia was there and the balcony looking over like all of the diverse people in Mythdraenor. You saw another vision that was like maybe 500 years in the future or so. Wherever you existed with this mage in the mirror, you're not sure if that was like 1 year or 1,000 years into the future. It was unclear.
Okay. Thanks.
Lovely little library. No man means evil but the devil, and we shall know him by his horns. Lovely little library.
Do we know, Marlowe, that the library you saw in the Mirror's future wasn't one that you're going to write, Neil?
Lovely little library.
You're making him all excited. Talia bends
This was a most majestic vision.
For now, let's discard the idea that the Mirror's future is bearing on us, Neil. We put one of Marlowe's blankets, forgive me, over the mirror, and do our best to not dwell on it. Yeah.
Marlowe nods vigorously and takes off back towards the sleeping room, shouting, "The future comes apace."
Dwelling much on the future is not fun at all, Nero.
Talia is dwelling on it.
You mustn't.
You can hear the scribbling coming from the sleeping quarters.
Marlowe's just gonna run back with like 75 blankets and just cover the mirror.
No, Marlowe's writing.
Oh, shit.
You can hear him writing. Lovely little library is shouted occasionally.
Well, we've lost at least one bird, yeah.
Talia sits down in her meditative position at the seat of the throne, like not on it, but just in front of it, so she can lean her back against the front of the chair. And as she does so, she is just staring at the blanket covering the mirror, lost in thought. Almost like she's getting a bit obsessed with it.
So, because Marlowe and Talia have both had their visions in the throne, Eerie is quite curious what she would see.
Does Eerie sit on the throne?
Absolutely.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
I was waiting for it. Okay. I don't trust that. I don't trust the auto roller. Would you mind me rolling that with physical dice?
Sure.
Because I've been rolling like incredibly poorly
Yeah, you have.
all night. And like while I know that like you give a large enough distribution and it's absolutely probably a fair randomized distribution, I've been playing D&D long enough that I'm suspicious of dice and superstitious of dice, and you goddamn know about it.
Yeah, I think I've said this before, but like, there's no one on this planet Earth who is as superstitious as gamblers and role players.
13
that.
plus 4, so 17 wisdom save.
All right. Ooh, hold on. Weird. Okay.
I know how the programming works, but also I've been playing D&D for like the better part of 2 decades. I'm way too superstitious for that shit.
I hear what you're saying. I've seen people roll 3 ones in a row, 2 games in a row on this roller, so it's a little nuts. So, Eerie, you actually sit on the throne. You see a future, perhaps about 5 years, in which you are amidst the crowds. You are watching for something, maybe kind of expecting of something. and you notice someone pull out a very slim crossbow, and you look up and you see the balcony upon which Talia is standing, and you notice that this someone is going to take aim at Talia.
Did I get a good look at the person who was taking aim at Talia?
Give me an intelligence check.
Oh fuck.
You can roll a real dice if you want to.
I was gonna, yeah, but also, intelligence isn't really her specialty. Oh, that helps. 18.
Okay. You manage to see what appears to be, let's say, an Asamar woman. She is the one who draws the crossbow and is about to fire. What do you do? You have this kind of dreamlike control over your vision.
Oh, that's a good question. How far away is the person?
We'll say just within 10 feet.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Can I get whatever the result of a DC 13 plus 5 years of warlocking saving throw?
Yeah. What kind of saving throw?
Sorry. It's a wisdom saving throw against Ares Fey presence for fear. Incredible, horrifying, Fey-like fear.
Did you say that was a 13?
13 plus 5 years of whatever the future looks like for Eerie.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, and yeah, that is a failure. So this person drops the strange crossbow, and it shoots directly up. And you think that there's like a certain danger in the crossbow, like shooting up and then falling back down. But at least whatever this plot was is foiled. And as that all transpires, you come back into reality sitting on the throne.
Interesting, yeah.
Talia cranes her neck to look back up at Eerie. Go ahead. No, I'm asking you to go ahead. You're going to say something.
Sorry, dear. This story might not be one you want to hear. Yeah?
So Talia sort of turns herself around a bit where she's sitting to look more directly at Eerie. Really? Are you sure? I'm very interested in whatever it is you saw on the throne.
Trust me, yeah? We'll just have to keep you shy of angels for a little while, you know?
Talia looks a little stricken at that, and holds Eerie's gaze for a little longer than, say, what's normal as she turns back around to face away from them.
The mechanical people all seem kind of transfixed by everything that is happening. They're very confused, but they seem in awe. Every time the throne gives each one of you a vision, the throne glows, and so they know something is happening. They just don't know what.
I'm just glad I got an interactive vision.
Is it night? Like, is Marlo getting ready to sleep now?
Yeah, I would say it's night.
Okay.
The sun is slowly setting. The stained glass windows are turning different hues as the light is pushing through them. And you see the mechanical guardians not waiting for your decisions, just going to guard the door, so that you may have an ample rest.
Also, is the mirror still inert right now, or would we have to check ourselves to see?
I mean, you would have to check. Do you turn it over to look at it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Talia lets out a yawn and turns back to Eerie, saying, "Well, it's getting late, my friend. We'd better get some rest so that we're ready for whatever adventure awaits us tomorrow."
I suppose you're right, Meow. But you don't rest. I hope you're not planning on getting up to any antics, Meow, in my absence.
You do love a
Eerie,
good antic, she mumbles to herself.
with a flourish, retires to the room with the beds.
Once you get in there, you see that Marlo has fallen asleep with his quill in his hand. And there's a trail of ink just sort of sliding across the blanket. And Rezi is once again asleep, butt in the air, just absolutely conked out.
Eerie puts a cork in the inkwell for Marlo. Because that shit's expensive.
Marlo will thank him in the morning. Will thank her in the morning.
Iron Ball is fucking expensive.
It really is.
I don't know if y'all know, but like Iron Ball ink is real goddamn expensive. Even like contemporary expensive.
It is. Ink in general, but yeah, that is. Do you have a quill you write with?
I'll send you some references about like historical Iron Ball ink usage because like like you're looking at like a shit ton of money for like powdered ink that you have to prep on site. God help you.
Is that where you have to do like the weird like up and down motion with like some kind of a weird rectangular object?
It depends. Iron Ball is usually like was able to be sold like in a, like not quite just add water, but like you have to like prepare it on site. So you could like prep it in a glass if you're working from like an office, but like usually like the powdered form was able to be sold for like people in the field. But like still like it was incredibly expensive contemporarily. And then like it also just like it went bad in like no time. And Mard can correct me on that since she knows more about the historical perspective than I do.
Yeah, a lot of people would make their own too. You'd find tons and tons of recipes that are all just like slightly different.
That's very cool. Sounds like an expensive hobby.
It wasn't even a hobby, it was just like what you had to do to write.
Yeah. The really expensive stuff was if you wanted like rubricated or like illuminated manuscripts. That ink starts getting really expensive.
That's when you have to start like handling pigments and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of... Never mind. I could go on a whole...
We could do this for a while.
Okay.
We should not. We're
No,
playing a game.
if y'all want like the nerd talking about like historical writing and art techniques, like that's a different night for a different stream. Fuck.
Broom.
Someone's excited. Let's fucking go.
Oh, ink, I love
Oh,
that.
Just revving up your ink engine.
No, someone outside my door is revving their engine like a jerk. There's some kind of
Oh.
social gathering happening. But
Right.
to that point, though, I would say, like, if you did a whole stream just like on the history of ink, I would watch it. I mean, I would watch any stream you do, but I would watch that one.
I'm gonna say you've been in like every stream I've done for the past like
Uh-huh.
4 months. Like I count on you at this point.
But that being said, it sounds like y'all are ready for a long rest for your characters. So you rest. You.
Oh, sorry, can I interrupt?
No, please.
Could I do something while they're sleeping?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming your token has moved Erie and you're like around where they are up there sleeping?
Yeah, Erie's gone. She left.
Okay.
Sorry, I just didn't care.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just wanted to know.
I assume you're hopping back on the throne or the mirror or something. That's what she was talking about anyway.
Okay. Yeah, Talia spends a couple hours, maybe not even that long, pretending to meditate. And once she hears all three of them breathing deeply, she uncovers the mirror again and looks to see if it is still inert.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
You are nearly frightened enough to drop the mirror when you turn the mirror over and you see the prominent face of what did I name him? Garvardi, waiting for you. Like he's right up against the mirror, waiting for you as you turn it over, and it's kind of like it shocks you. You almost dropped the mirror. That was what the saving throw was for.
Oh, okay. That is terrifying. Talia has to stifle a scream with her hand, being face to face with the Archmage like that again unexpectedly. Can he hear her through there? Like, can she just talk or?
What you realize is that you kind of start to intuit. This was a joke played on you by Garvardi. He apparently cast some kind of an illusion, so you can kind of see where like the image of the Archmage is kind of static, and you even see some kind of like weird twitches in it that reveal it to be some kind of like almost like a hologram.
Talia swears to herself, which I won't repeat here, but you can just imagine she's swearing quietly.
Yeah.
And then she looks angry and a bit determined and sort of shimmies her way none too gracefully into the mirror and falls through the other side again.
You pass through the illusion by necessity, and you can kind of see it like break apart, like, you know, when somebody walks through a hologram, it kind of distorts and then reforms when you step out of it. And as you do, you see a small mynah bird that is perched on a freestanding kind of a tall perch, where some mynah birds might have a cage built around their perch. This one does not, and it looks pointedly at you and says, "You have returned." Rah?
Talia stares back at the bird and says, sorry, what was his last name? Just so I don't pronounce it wrong.
Garvardi.
Archmage Garvardi, please return to your normal form. I'm not in the mood for this.
He steps out of the shadows in a different place that you weren't expecting, and he says, "Oh my, I was hoping that I could catch you, my bird." He's quite the conversationalist, you know. But you did call for me, which means you want me here, which means you want to be here. which means we are ready to parley.
That's very astute of you, Archmage, Talia says, walking towards him.
I am here, ready to listen. Humans had an expression for this. All ears. I find it distasteful, but it suits the situation.
Firstly, sir, you are a worm for the trick that you played on me. It was not appreciated.
I must amuse myself on occasion. I hope you do not mind. You may find it funny sometime in the near future.
Talia sort of ignores that and just presses on. So, what is it that you wanted to discuss with us earlier? Who are you exactly, and why did you want to talk to us?
I am, as you may have guessed, a descendant of yours. A far descendant. You're not my mother, more like some relative with about a dozen greats between yourself and I. You don't need to concern yourself with whether or not you raised some poor ilk. Who are we to be so sour on those who have descended from us so far that we had nothing to do with their upbringing? But perhaps I am being too heady. What I would like for you to do is simply to deliver one coin to one person, a pittance.
A coin?
Yes, and he presents it. This coin, a platinum piece. To you or I, nothing, a trifle. To a peasant, a lifetime worth of food. I wish for you to deliver this to a peasant.
Talia, is he like presenting it to her to take?
He takes merely one step forward and holds his hand out. Curiously, except for the fact that he's not kneeling, it's similar to the clayman who was presenting the pendant.
Okay. So Talia steps towards him in turn and tentatively reaches out, taking the coin from him and inspecting it. I don't think I'm gonna do a check for that right now, though, if that's okay. I'm just
That's
gonna...
fine.
Okay. And she eyes him suspiciously, asking, "So you want me to give this to a peasant in my time frame? Who is this peasant that they're so important to receive a platinum coin from you, presumably hundreds of years in the future? I assume they're your ancestor, and that by giving them this, you will one day inherit wealth that they will have come upon thanks to this coin?"
You have a great insight. That is exactly it. I wish to repay a favor into the past. This mirror was constructed for that very purpose. Although it is not the only such favor I owe. I hope perhaps we could come to certain arrangements. You give this platinum piece, and he kind of holds it again, like presenting it further, and then holds out his other hand, and magically a bag of platinum pieces appears, and he says, "And you can keep this. Or perhaps you would like something that is not materially wealthy. Maybe you want magical secrets. Maybe you want something like this." And he waves his hand again, and the bag of money disappears, and instead opens up, or rather appears a book. And he says, "This book may have all the answers that you're searching for. You wish to know how you can avert certain futures. You wish to know how you can avoid having a consort who is from an empire of evil. There are many things that you are considering right now. I could be your guide. I could help you find the future that you desire."
Talia has noticeably become much more interested in him as he was talking to her about the future and his plans and the book especially, and has become a little warmer in appearance towards him, like she's a little less suspicious perhaps. That's all very enticing, particularly the book. Right now, I feel as though I could use guidance of any sort to help me on my journey forward. On my own, I'm afraid I don't have yet enough experience in the world to know which path is the correct one to take. If you would divest yourself of this book and gift it to me, I would be extremely grateful. But I must ask, was it you who penned this book? And was it you who penned this book, or did it come from another source who has more knowledge than either of us?
Why, no. The very person who penned this book is yourself. It is your diary.
Oh shit. Sorry. Wow. Oh, okay. Talia is shocked at that. Like, her jaw drops when he says that. How did you get my diary? She also, like, is he still holding it for her to look at?
He has it, yeah.
Okay,
and
well,
he says, yeah, go ahead.
she just reaches forward and tries to take it. I don't know if he's going to stop her or not, but yeah, she does that while saying, how did you get your hands upon my diary?
He graciously allows you to pluck it from his hands. And he says, why, it was in the family vaults. It was something I came across as I was going over old artifacts of our family line. In fact, it is what allowed me to key this mirror to your presence.
You are a very wise very wise elf, I can see. Talia is already having opened the cover of the book and is already leafing through the first little bit, wanting to just absorb as much of it as she can in as little time as possible. She feels very overwhelmed right now and is maybe taking all of this in a little bit too quickly to really process the meaning of everything happening. You must be a wise elf to have thought of this and even to offer me this. I find it is priceless, this knowledge. It will change my entire life. You've changed my entire life just now. And all you want is for me to deliver that coin? And she looks again at the coin, this time in her other hand. I suppose there's no real harm in it. It's not like it's going to hurt anyone, only benefit you. And in turn, I get to read the passages of my own life before it happens. So she's now, she's more optimistic and a little excited even at all of this.
Mm. So he says, indeed, one hand washes the other. Humans may not be worth much, but they come up with some rather colorful expressions. I will help you do this. And you will help me with repaying my debts. Such will alleviate the burdens of the universe, and balance will be achieved. Please, take the book. Take the platinum piece. Consider it. I believe that you will do what is right.
Talia does take both the book and the coin in her hand and puts them in her bag and looks back up at him. Thank you, sir. I'm not sure what else to say, other than who is it that you would have me deliver the platinum coin to?
Yes, that is the devil in the details. He hands you a folded piece of paper, and as you unfold it, you see the name Sorry. Melvin Thiefro. And he is the Vagabond of Flan, and he will be found at Town Square. And there's like a date, but we'll just say that it's like the third 10-day of the third month of the third year, which incidentally is approximately 4 days from now.
This fucking guy. Okay, so Talia, sorry, so that was on a parchment, then he wrote it all down for her?
Yes.
Okay, so she takes it from him and looks and reads the name out loud. Melvin Thiefro, Vagabond of Flan. Well, I do not know who that is, but if your instructions point to the time and place, I suppose it wouldn't be too much for me to find myself there at that time and transfer along the coin to him. Is that really all you ask of me?
For now. It's possible I may want you to do other things as well, and I will remunerate you appropriately at those times, if you are so inclined. But never will I impose upon you my desires. Does that sound fair?
Talia hums thoughtfully at that and nods her head at him. Yes, I suppose it does.
Perfect. That is all I ask. Deliver that coin. You have your payment. If you decide that your rationale has gone against this edict, then you shall simply not do the thing. And then we will move on with our lives. But if you do, then I will hope that this may be the beginning of something profitable on both ends of our timelines.
Talia nods at him. Oh, I suppose I should get back now, before anyone notices that I'm gone. But I did have one more question from you.
Please.
Sorry for you.
Ask
Archmage, sorry if this is asking too much, but the books in this library here, are there any that wouldn't be too painful for you to part with? I have a friend back home who would very much like to see at least one book from this library.
Oh, curious request. One that I can easily accommodate. He plucks a book from one of the bookshelves and hands it to you. I am going to say that it is a historical account of a famous feast that took place or will take place in your current timeline, approximately 100 years from now, that commemorates the reforging of alliances between Mithranor, the Elven Empire, and one of the Dwarven empires that has since also reemerged. One known as the Dwarven Empire of what is that place called? I mean, it's not super important, but it's just one of those things where I knew what I was going to say. Gauntlgrim. The Dwarven Empire of Gauntlgrim.
Oh, okay. Talia takes the book from him, thankfully, and for the first time since they've met, she actually smiles at him. Thank you, kind Archmage. My friend will be so very pleased with this gift. Oh.
I will presume so. I'm looking forward to our continued partnership, and I hope that this gift will also ingratiate your allies to myself. There's nothing to be lost and everything to be gained with this continued partnership.
Those words that he just spoke echo in Talia's mind as she thanks him once again before stepping once more through the mirror and bidding him a good farewell for now, and emerging again back in the throne room on the other side.
It is quiet. All of the mechanical beings, with the exception of the guardians, are kind of like in a what do you call it? Like a suspended animation mode. So they're just like standing still and not conscious. Everything is extremely quiet, and you see the moonlight filtering in. In fact, I'll go to the map that we were just in. The moonlight filters in through the two windows that are flanking the throne room, and something curious happens in that you see the same kind of ballerina, and I'm just going to draw little squiggly lines to show that you see this kind of like shadow. A ballerina seems to be dancing in the shadow of the moonlight on both sides of the throne, and as soon as you see it, it is gone. A tiny vision of something strange commemorating this passage of time. And it's just Mario dancing. That's funny. But I think with that strange omen, I will call this game adjourned because I want to leave off on a mysterious note. And we will reconvene next week, hopefully with our full roster, and you will have one hell of a time explaining exactly what happened this session.
Yeah, they're going to be so mad at me.
A little wild, yes.
I typed up a recap.
Oh, fantastic.
For her.
Oh, perfect.
I see it. That's
good
awesome.
Job.
Because otherwise I will forget a lot of details.
Yeah, thanks for writing that up. That's useful for me too, honestly.
And it's been a long-standing tradition. Anybody who writes recaps or notes gets an inspiration, so just remember that for next time. You get automatic inspiration.
Okay.
Okay. Eerie noticed. Of course Eerie noticed. I was worried about that.
Eerie expected you to go back in.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
Which is exactly what she said. Have fun with your antics.
I want that to be the first line spoken in the next game. That's like where the game opens, is with Eerie going. So what happened when you went back into the mirror, Nya?
That was a really good impression just now.
That was a pretty good Nya.
It's going to be speaking in Nya.
Yeah, I'm a good understudy.
Oh, that was so much fun. I loved that.
Yeah.
I was impressed by how far you all kind of let yourselves fall into that. Every so often, I'll dangle a narrative carrot, let's say, and people will be like, "Oh, that's clearly like a bad thing to do. Let's not do that thing." But every so often, someone will take that carrot, and it'll be lots of fun.
Please understand, anytime there's a bad thing that we could do, Eerie is always going to be like 50-50 on trying it.
Fantastic. Well,
Talia was like least likely to take the carrot, and she did it, so.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think for Talia, like, this is like really good character development, though. Like, it gives her a lot of depth, rather than sort of like, oh yes, I am the hero.
Yeah.
I am the queen. Now she's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's just Ring a Bell from Bravely Default.
Now she has a book for Marlo.
Which,
Marlo
by the way,
is going to love her forever.
I've never played Bravely Default, so I find that amusing.
Ring a Bell is a character who has amnesia, but he starts the game with essentially his diary of everything that is happening in the game. And so he is just like telling you what the plot is as you go with like an incredible level of savvy. And like everyone's like, wait, what the fuck is this book you're referring to? It's like, look, it just says it right here. You said this, and then this happened, and then this guy's a shit can. And like, the progression of the story is just like, yeah, the book's right every fucking time. But then like no one ever reads ahead and finds out that spoilers.
Oh my god, I have to play this game now.
Yep, no, play Bravely Default. It's really fucking good.
Which, it's so frustrating to me that they haven't re-released that on something. Like, come on.
Really need to. It's Final Fantasy V, but better.
Oh, don't say that around. Don't say that around Looney.
Has she played Bravely Default? Because like I will like understand. I love Final Fantasy V, but
Right.
it's absolute, like it uses the Final Fantasy V like class system and progression system and freelancer system, and then it has a story that is actually coherent and isn't just Mad Libs.
So, and yeah, you're right. Like I'm playing. You know that I'm playing through Final Fantasy V right now, and I have that same complaint of like, well, the story's fine, I suppose, but it's kind of like a choose your own adventure over like an actual narrative. But anyways, no, I don't honestly know if she's played Bravely Default, but now I'm curious.
So I love Five. I love Five as like it's a zany story. All of the characters are incredibly bombastic. Like I genuinely I think Ferris is one of the most compelling characters in like the Final Fantasy canon.
Yes,
But like at the same time, like the story is Mad Libs.
it's
Just like it is a like remember there is a line in the game, and I quote, "Holy Christmas, a talking turtle."
What?
Final Fantasy V is a fucking trip, okay? It is Mad Libs the game. It is Mad Libs the JRPG circa 1995. Like, the final boss of it is a tree. I'm not even joking, a tree.
You're making me want to try it.
You should definitely play it. I love the game. It has one of, like, it has the second best implementation of the Final Fantasy class system that you will see in any game in the franchise, only beat out by the Tactics series.
I love
And
how
only because
excited
it-
you are right now about this.
I love Final Fantasy V. I like if you haven't noticed, I really like Final Fantasy. Like I'm not subtle.
Well, now you're gonna have to have that conversation with Looney about it.
Quick
She'll get in
question
touch with
though.
me. She knows.
I have a question about the game we're playing though.
Yeah, well.
Is the Archmage conventionally handsome?
By elven standards, yes, like tremendously so.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Is he like really related to me?
Shelby.
Okay, I'm just saying. It would be
Shelby.
nice. It would be nice, okay, to get a smooch during the game. That's it. That's
He's your like
whatever.
grandson. What the fuck?
He's not my grandson though. He said I'm not like you're not my mom or whatever. Okay,
Yeah, but, like several grades. Come on now.
there's more degrees of separation, I'm sure.
If second
but, like,
cousins
you're
can
still-
get married,
You're still
mean-
making that like family tree a circle.
Listen,
dude.
I got to keep the elf line going, and I'm just saying.
You
Go
know,
live in the future with my Archmage husband. You can't stop me.
There are other elves. Just like pick one that's not like related to you, dude.
Aren't they all dead though? I guess they're just
the
dead
ones in
here.
like this neighborhood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's,
he's hot
Just
and
go
he
back
gave
to,
me a
like-
diary, so.
We're just
I
gonna
have
go back
low
to like Baldur's
standards.
Gate and hang out with all the alive elves who aren't related to you.
Ugh, fine. So
Just
boring.
fuck your cousins. What the fuck?
I mean, if you want to think about it this way, just imagine if like your great grandfather were Rasputin, and somehow he had a mirror that like went back in time, but he was also like conventionally handsome. Think of it that way.
Oh, Rasputin
so
had
he
one of
is
those.
quite not good.
I suppose
Rasputin?
I was maybe burying the lead by calling him Rasputin. But
Yeah,
like,
interesting
it's-
choice.
But you decide for yourself. Like I am just characterizing him in a way that makes sense to me, but you interpret it whatever.
Did you hear that, Sajiro? He's a wizard, and he obviously can't be killed through any
He's
means.
a wizard and is at least possibly Russia's greatest love machine. So
Definitely.
I can't stop you, but like as your friend, I can't advise trying to bang your kids.
I will take that under advisement. Thank you.
Please
What-
see the DMs I sent you like an hour ago.
It's at least better than shacking up with your cousin, but however much better that is in your brain is up to you. Like I'm not going to tell you how to live your fictional life.
Thank you. At least someone here is open.
As your friend, I will tell you how to live your fictional life, and it does involve like trying to not bang your descendants. But I'm not your dad, and I can't, like, I don't know what elves do, and Erie is predisposed to not caring about this, so,
Ha!
like, out of character, like, please don't. But, like, in character, like, live your best life, I guess.
I'm gonna get that D.
Oh, god damn it.
Alright, guys, and with that, I'm gonna go now. Oh, before I say anything else. Okay, good night.
No, please keep going. Like, this is pretty much, how long have we known each other, Shelby? Like, come on now. Like,
Oh, at least 2 years. I don't know.
I'm probably going to ask y'all what level you are sometime between this week and next, because I can't remember if I've allowed you to level up, but we'll talk about that at some
bumped us
point
to
in
2.
the future. Okay, I'm gonna get a 3. Oh, let me think about it between this week. If y'all remind me, then we'll talk about it. But anyways, I have kept you for long enough. I'm glad that y'all had fun. I had a lot of fun. So thank you for being so indulgent, and thank you for being so awesome.
Thank you so much for
same
DMing.
at you.
Always fun.
All of you.
Yes.
Right on.
Have a good night, guys.
You
Okay,
too.
Shelby.
I'm
Likewise.
great. I've never been better. Good night. Bye.
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 Good night, Dip. Thank you for watching and putting up with my shenanigans. I am more than fairly drunk right now. And so that's that. That's the reason for it. I'm gonna do something like watch a movie, and I hope you have a fantastic night. And I am not even halfway through this wine. So yeah, I'll talk to you soon, bestie boo. Bye bye.